Hi, I'm Josh Lambert, a group product manager here at GitLab, and today I'd like to talk about what the database team is planning on working in our 13.2 milestone. 13.2 will be launched to everyone on July 22nd, and this is what we're focused on delivering. The first and most important aspect is continuing to work on partitioning, in particular the audit events table. This is one of the larger tables you can imagine in GitLab, right? It stores all of the auditing events that we have. And so it is the first one that we are looking to partition and should provide a great test case for us to make sure we understand how to do it. We can roll out some of the basic tools to partition tables, and we can also evaluate the performance with a relatively simple and straightforward table to start with. Before moving on to more complex tables that have potentially different access patterns that would be more challenging to potentially address. So in particular, in 13.2, we are working to actually partition the table by year. This is because right now we are using PG11, and PG11 doesn't do very well with high numbers of partitions. And so we are particularly trying to make sure that we don't have too many partitions, which could cause performance problems and overall slow down the database performance. So we are working on that, and we're also working to roll out some tooling to make sure the partition happens automatically. It is possible that some of these 13.1 items might still carry over, but if so, we will continue to work on those as well. And then, of course, once we do partition the table, we want to make sure we can compare the partition performance of the audit log table with a baseline to determine what the actual performance impact, if any, or potential improvement there was in partitioning. So that is a key focus area here for us, as you probably have heard us for some time now talking about partitioning here. And so it's very exciting that in 13.2, we might have our first table partitioned. Moving on from there, we are doing some analysis as well on the growth, in particular of GitLab.com's Postgres database. Being the largest database for our GitLab instance, it serves as a great place for us to do some investigation, and we'll be continuing to understand really goals around how we can reduce the total size of the database. And you can see some issues here. We've identified some improvements, but also hopefully reducing the overall database growth rate as well. The idea being here is that as self-managed and GitLab.com continue to grow and we continue to add more features, making sure that the PG database is continuing to scale well and perform well for our users and our customers. So this is part of that issue here as well, identifying in particular some areas that are high impact as far as what the workload on our GitLab database. And we're also working to improve, further optimize performance as well by reducing unnecessary queries. One of the biggest offenders, frankly, it's actually on GitLab.com, half of all database queries is select one. So every other query is essentially is effectively a no-op, and we get around 4,000 of these per second on GitLab.com. And so overall, it's actually having a pretty heavy impact on GitLab.com database performance. And so we are looking to potentially cache some of these things so we don't have to have quite so many. It's causing a lot of context switches, and in some testing on a relatively small database, it actually had a pretty high impact, as you can see here for some of this PG bench testing work that we have been going on. So excited for how much optimization and additional headroom this can provide for GitLab databases everywhere. From there, continuing on the performance and efficiency of the GitLab database, we're also working on rolling out automatic reindexing of standard indexes. When this was open 2 months ago, we had around 500 gigs of index bloat. Currently, it's up to around 1 gig, actually, as you can see here. And for example, as Andreas had mentioned, keeping all this in memory is actually beyond the available memory that we have on the instances for GitLab.com. So it is a problem. And right now, we can run PG repack on these manually, but it requires some oversight. And we'd like to actually automate this process. There are some particular improvements in PG12 which can make this more automatic. But since we're not on PG12 just yet, we aren't requiring that. We have to do a little more work on our side to make this happen. The benefit here, of course, by automating it is that all of our self-managed customers will see the benefits of this as well. These folks may not have been running database repacking if they weren't aware of it. And so this will allow a number of customers to see potentially some significant performance improvements and reductions in the overall size of the indexes by virtue of having this automated and being built into the application. So really excited about this for its impact on GitLab.com, but also for making the database of self-managed more autonomous and effectively self-optimizing, self-managed, if you will. The last major item we're working on here in the database team in 13.2 is we have found that Sidekick always uses the primary node if you have multiple Postgres nodes. This is not always required, because if the Sidekick job is not actually writing any data, it doesn't need and actually shouldn't be hitting the primary. Instead, it should be hitting a secondary, which is read-only, and it can essentially offload and reduce the load on the primary by doing so. And so we're going to go through and actually annotate all of the workers, determining which ones actually are read-write and which ones are read-only. And from there, we can then have these jobs select whether the primary or secondary should be used based on whether the job itself requires write access. And so this will, again, be another nice performance improvement and optimization for larger GitLab instances that have multiple Postgres nodes. So those are the key features for the database team in 13.2. I'm really excited about all of these and just the continued efficiency and performance improvements that we will see. But as a result, not only us as in GitLab.com, but also, of course, all of our customers. And so we are excited to get 13.2 into your hands in July, and stay tuned as well for 13.3, which will be happening in July. And we'll tell you all about that on July 18th. Thanks.